Welcome to another edition of This Week, 60 minutes of analytical review of the big stories, topical issues and all the controversies around the world. I'm Sumner Sambo. Coming up in 60 minutes, Governor Sanwoolu says Lagos is ready to end the payment of pensions for former governors and their deputies. Elder statesman and first civilian governor of Kaduna State, Balarabe Musa, is dead at age 84. And the death of one of Ghana's most significant public figures, former President Jerry Rawlings, at the age of 73. He led 2 military coups and was an authoritarian leader who was tough on corruption, but was also accused of human rights abuses. Plus, in the United States, the General Services Administration, tasked with the transition process, is yet to recognize Biden's victory. We begin in Nigeria's commercial city, Lagos State, where the governor, Babajide Sanwoolu, has announced his intention to repeal the controversial public office holder payment of pension law of 2007, which provides for payment of pension and other entitlements to former elected governors and their deputies. The governor made this known during the week gone by while presenting the 2021 budget to the Lagos State House of Assembly. He said the bill for that purpose will be sent to the State Assembly. Meanwhile, the Lagos State 2021 budget estimate of over 1 billion naira is tagged Budget of Rekindled Hope. For analysis, I'm now being joined by Engineer Yabagi Sani, the National Chairman of the Action Democratic Party, ADP, and former presidential candidate, and from our offsite studio by Dr. Philip Afaha, the head of Department of History and Diplomatic Studies at the University of Abuja. Glad to have you.
Thank you very much.
Let's go very quickly to the issues of Lagos State introducing this proposal before the state lawmakers, and the governor says he's going to send, a proposal to them for them to consider repealing this act, which has seen Lagos State governors, former governors, being given 30 million naira per annum. They are also entitled to 6 brand new cars every 3 years and some other perquisites. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think this is long overdue, and it's good that at least it's happening now. The sad aspect of it is that a lot of resources has been wasted on these individuals that have been given everything, and they took everything actually when they were at the helm of affairs. So I think the governor should go further by asking them to return some of the pension funds that were given to them, which I believe, one, it was illegal. Number two, it was unfair to the people of this country that gave them mandate to run the affairs on their behalf. And I think it's also something close to stealing. Why am I saying so? If you are a governor and after your office, you are elected as maybe senator, or you are appointed as a minister, or given another juicy appointment, common sense and sense of responsibility dictates that you should not take, money from your state, in such quantum, millions of naira, cars, houses, and things like that.
I'm not, but it's a law. So it's a law, it has to be fulfilled.
Well, sometimes yes, the law may be there, but where are you number one citizen of that country? You are supposed to operate the law in a manner that will address, the issues that will serve the interests of the people better. There's nothing wrong by saying that as a governor, I don't want to take this money because I don't think it's fair for my people. Yeah, as a former governor. But again, I think there's one thing that we must also be very careful about. If a former governor is not appointed or elected to another position in government, I think he's entitled to some form of, a pension, but not this horrendous amount of money.
Let's get the view of Doctor. So, Dr. Afaha, what exactly are your thoughts on this, considering that it's a law that has been operational in several states of the country, but we have also seen some civil society organizations, like SERAP, going to court and asking that some of these governors do not deserve, these former governors do not deserve to be milking the people. We had an issue in Zamfara State, for example, where the incumbent governor had to eventually ask the State House of Assembly to repeal that law because he felt it was scandalous, especially for a poor state like Zamfara, for a former governor to be earning like 10 million naira per month. What are your views on this?
Yes, we must understand that from inception, that law to pay pension to governors who have served these states of the Federation was radically opposed by the people in Nigeria. I think it is a weakness of the legislature at both national, federal, and at the state levels, because come to think of it, it should have been the legislature at the state level that should have communicated the feelings of the people back to government by way of petitioning such suggestion. It was selfish from inception. It was sinful to even think of paying pension to these governors who have acquired so much. In fact, it goes to show us the way we perceive power in Africa, in Nigeria in particular. Outside Nigeria, power is perceived for service. But here we notice that politicians only enter public offices just to extort, to take everything for themselves. They see political office as employment, not as service. And we should not, for any reason, encourage this kind of situation. I think what Lagos State government did within the past few days by trying to suggest a repeal of that obnoxious law of paying pension to people who have already stolen so much, I think that came as a damage control because of the NSAS protest that Lagos State government itself mishandled. So I think maybe it's one of those policies they are trying to put forward to try to assuage the feelings of the masses, to try to see how to really calm down the tension, the feelings of the people. Not that those in government in Lagos did not know as of 2007 that such a law was not acceptable to the people of Lagos and people of Nigeria.
All right. Sorry to interject there, but I just have to ask this question. Why should former governors and former deputy governors not be entitled to a pension? Because it is not every former governor or former deputy governor that stole monies, just like you had mentioned earlier. And then for us to actually assume or say that a former governor or his deputy has stolen monies, we need to have facts because, the system should have taken care of the person. But here we have so many persons who have served as former governors and former deputy governors. Just within your own context as an tell us why a former governor and a former deputy governor should not earn a pension like a former, retired permanent secretary or any other person in government.
Yes, because at his exit from office, a former governor or deputy governor is entitled to a severance package. A severance package that will enable him to readjust to the life in the society, to readjust to his business life, what he was doing before. There's a severance package always paid to political office holders. But it was criminal at the inception for them to even conceive of paying so much pension. Can you imagine 30 million naira? Can you imagine 6 vehicles? and cars and houses in Abuja and Lagos for state governors, and some other ones that the public is not even aware of. I want to say it here. We must learn from now henceforth, we must learn to always talk back at government. It is not when people in government just wake up, they bring all these policies just for their selfish interests, as the case may be, to bring it on top to suppress the people. The Nigerian people are now aware, we are alert to the situations in the country. People in government must not hide under the loopholes in our constitution, under the loopholes in our system, to continue to steal from the people. I think it is wrong to
all right, let's have the views of Yabagi here. You were a former presidential candidate in the last election. Why are we not having Nigerians asking for former presidents and their vice presidents not to receive pension? Why do we pay former presidents and their vice presidents pension, and then we're asking states to refuse to pay former governors and their deputies? Is there justice here?
No. If you, what I said is that it's wrong if you are a former governor and after that you are elected as a senator or you are appointed as a minister.
Okay, so it's only when you are elected for another position or you are appointed in another position that it should be bad for you.
I'm not in any way supporting the kind of horrendous amounts that has been recommended, that are given out to the former governors today. That is too much. That is injustice. It's criminal, really, to recommend that for pension, as a pension to the state governor. So, but there should be some form of pension. It's only, you see, the idea of pension is that so that when you are in office, you do not in any way think about how do I survive or what do I do after I leave office and things like that. That's why you give pension, so that the man will have the mind will be settled to serve the people, to the best of his knowledge.
Yes, and that's what I'm asking. So why is it that former presidents and their vice presidents are receiving pension, and we're saying that former governors and deputies should not receive pensions?
No, I think such offices should attract pension, but not you taking advantage of the situation by taking more than what you should take. Like I said, I'm repeating myself. If you, after being a governor, you are now serving as a senator or a minister, you should honorably say that no, I shouldn't be taking this pension anymore.
But the law is silent on that.
No, the law. I mean, that's why you are supposed to think above the law. When it comes to something that will serve the interests of your people. Look at Ekiti, for instance. Fayemi, who is there as the governor now, he was there as the governor before. So does it mean that Fayemi will be collecting the pension of the governorship time that he served, and then also be collecting the salaries of the present term? Is that what is going to happen? I don't know if that is what is happening. I think you should be.
Okay, just let's talk about, for example, the Lagos proposal that we had.
Yes.
30 million naira per annum. That's almost just like about 2 million to 2.5. In the midst of this inflation that we have, and considering how buoyant Lagos is, do you think that's too much for a former governor or deputy governor of a rich state like Lagos to be earning?
No, rich should be in terms of how rich are the people. It's not the quantum of money that the state is making. Look at an average citizen in Lagos. Has it changed his life really? Has anything changed? Why did we have this NSAS protest in Lagos? Because people are not happy at all. They are living from hand to mouth, and some of them cannot even get from hand to mouth. Some of them are dying of anger. It's true. So 30 million, I think, in a situation where we are today in this country is too much. Regardless of what the government is making, the state is making. Because you have to equate it with what an average citizen is getting. How have you bettered the lot of the average of the citizen in the state? You don't say, okay, because my state is making billions, I should just filter away the money, give to my friends or my.
All right, just hold your thoughts. We'll have to go on a break right now. You're watching This Week. Plenty more still ahead. Stay with us. back to This Week, where we have the best of conversations and analysis. I'm Sumner Sambo. While still talking about these issues of former pensions for former governors and deputy governors, would want to hear the views of you, Dr. Philip Afaha, on if former governor of Lagos, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is not the target of this law, or just like some people have said, that he has accepted this proposal by the governor because he feels it's time for him to actually use this as an opportunity to gain some public relations mileage with the people of Lagos who are actually angry with some of his actions. What are your thoughts on this?
Yes, I don't think it was targeted at Asiwaju Tinubu. And I would not also say that it was targeted at him, or it wasn't. The idea is this. The pension for governors was a wrong, mischievous idea from the onset. The public protested against it. People murmured against that policy. But it was forced on the people of Lagos State. Not only Lagos State, it was forced on the people of other states of the Federation. People murmured, the public kicked against it, but it was forcefully imposed on the people, on the public purse. It shouldn't have come in the first place. If you notice, immediately after this policy was mooted of bending this rule of paying pension, it was Asiwaju Tinubu himself that came out to say, oh, it's acceptable to me, it's a good idea. When did it become a good idea? It became a good idea. Why? Because there is now need to manage the public relations of the governor of Lagos and the system that is running Lagos. Look, let me tell you, there is no hiding in as far as these issues is concerned. It's a wrong policy. It painted the government in a bad light, as if the whole idea of governance in Nigeria it's an organized crime. Children, the youth and the children see Nigerian government as organized crime. It should not be so, but it is so because the system, the policies that is brought about by people in government is actually making people to be disenchanted by whatever the government is doing. So it is high time we start thinking straight. It's high time we start listening to the feelings of the people and not impose policies on the people. Maybe 10, 15 years after, you now say, oh, we shouldn't have done it that way. After the damage has been done, will the monies that were paid to these former governors and deputies be refunded to the people of Lagos State? Will those houses be turned back to the government, to the government post? No. Those things, as far as we are concerned, are already gone. It is a loss on the people of Lagos State. It's a loss on the people of Nigeria.
All right. Let's have the views now of you here. What do you think is this approach that Tinubu is bringing to this matter? It's not only him that's involved. I mean, we've had former Akwa Ibom State Governor, Senator Godswill Akpabio, who, after leaving the governance in his state, Akwa Ibom, later became a senator, and then he is a minister now. All of this being put together, what do you think would be the thoughts of Tinubu and then former governors on issues like this?
Well, I think the NSAS protest is a wake-up call to most of this government, not only the state government, even the federal government. I think they are now beginning to do people-oriented programs. They are now beginning to understand that this is trust given to them, and they are supposed to serve the people. It's not the people serving them, as they misconstrue the opportunity to be. It's an extortionist kind of idea by taking advantage of opposition to take what you know yourself. If you had employed somebody in your organization and the person is leaving and you are appointed in, will you be paying him pension and paying his salary at the same time? No, you will not. So it's unfair. It's like I said, it's akin to stealing, and I think not only that they should stop it, but they could be asked to return the money back, because some of them can afford it. They've stolen enough. They've kept enough, in terms of what they stole, where they are in power. Yes, you will
well,
say
you
that
keep
we don't have
saying
any
stolen.
evidence.
There's no
We don't have
evidence.
no, I
that-
have. Some of them are still with the EFCC.
Oh, well,
Some of them
have
are
you
in
submitted
jail.
them to the
You know,
EFCC?
some of them
Well,
are facing the EFCC. We know about that.
yeah, but
and
they haven't been convicted. Well, I
that
think
be
we'll just-
convicted. But the issue is that, I don't think it's about a particular governor, but it's about the NSAS protest, the windfalls that we are getting from NSAS process, which is now making government to know that they are supposed to serve
not the government, even
people.
those who are out of government. Okay,
Well,
let's just leave it at that for now. A former governor of Kaduna State, Balarabe Musa, has died at the age of 84. Until his death, he was the chairman of the Board of Trustees of the People's Redemption Party, PRP, and former leader of the Conference of Nigerian Political Parties, CNPP. He died in Kaduna after a brief illness, according to family members. Balarabe Musa was the governor of Kaduna State during the Second Republic, holding the office from October 1979 until his impeachment in June 1981. Some of the early callers to the residence of the former governor include his political associate, Senator Sheikh Hussaini, who described him as an icon and a voice for the oppressed, who stood in defense of all Nigerians. He has since been buried according to Islamic rites. All right, let's have your views on the later Balarabe Musa. What are the thoughts that you have of him? I mean, so many people have described him, just like you heard, as a voice for the masses. And some people in Kaduna State still remember some of the huge infrastructural achievements he got. I mean, within the short time that he served, unlike governors now that we even have spending 8 years and you can't just remember anything about them.
Well, I think Balarabe Musa of blessed memory was a titan in terms of his political life, what he represents, as it's an epitome of what a political life should be of an individual. Let people see you as a kind of servant, to the people, even though you are in position of leadership. And I think his life also is something that some of us, who are coming behind him should also emulate, because he was not in any way, confused or carried away by the paraphernalias of the office and things like that. He gave his all to the masses. He made sure that the government was there for the people, not people, for the government, as the case is you have today. So I think we have lost a very, very important personality in terms of what political life should be, what leadership should be. And I believe that for a long time, it will be difficult to find somebody that you can really have like him in terms of service to the people. He didn't, of course, nobody talks about amassing wealth. In fact, apart from not amassing wealth, was using even his own money, to ensure that people's needs are met, wherever.
Right. Let's have the views of Doctor here. So, Doctor, what are the fond memories you have of this gentleman, former governor, who is now late and who so many people have described as the Aminu Kano of his time, considering the moral voice that he had on issues that were pan-Nigerian, especially that of the North?
I think you got it right there. He was the moral voice, not only of the North. In fact, I will not diminish his stature in history by referring to him as a leader in northern Nigeria. Balarabe Musa was a Nigerian leader, a leader for the entire country. You see, some people hide under ethnicity, some people hide under religion, some people hide under some political affiliations and become factional leaders. Balarabe Musa, until his death, his posturing, everything he did in this country, he did it as a Nigerian leader. He is as respected in the south that I come from as he is respected in the north. Few leaders of this dispensation command such respect. I really feel that Nigeria have lost a gem. Nigeria has lost a true politician that worked with ideology, a principled man. You can actually see the clique of people that ran, that is political parties in the Second Republic. Aminu Kano,
all right. Just hold your thoughts there. We'll go on a short break, and when we come back, you'll continue. You're still watching This Week. Plenty more ahead. Stay with us. We hold the best of conversations and analysis. I'm Sumner Sambo. Still talking about Balarabe Musa. Doctor, you were talking about his politics and trying to akin it to that of the late Aminu Kano. Can you just continue from where you stopped?
Yes, just like Aminu Kano, Rimi, Chukwumerije, and the rest of them that came together to form that party at that point in time, you notice that they were working on an ideology. The ideology was that they were putting up a political party to actually service the masses, to service the downtrodden, to cater for the poor. And they went all out to make sure that that is achieved. When he was governor, within the short span of time that he was governor of Kaduna State, of course, Kaduna was very peaceful. That is the same Kaduna that has turned to Golgotha now. That same Kaduna, Balarabe Musa ran Kaduna State peacefully and achieved a whole lot in developing that area. I think we have to really go back and learn from history, learn from the leaders of the past, how they did it. I remember in the days of Abacha, during Abacha's misgovernance, it took someone like Balarabe Musa from northern Nigeria. I think he was almost a lone voice from the northern part of the country that called Abacha to order, that shouted alongside his compatriots from other parts of the country to say what you are doing is wrong. He was one of the few people that really shook the Abacha junta. Other people ran into their caves. Other people ran and hid. Why? Because, of course, Abacha was our brother. Oh, Abacha is from part of the country. Oh, so we cannot challenge him. We cannot criticize him. Oh, he's our brother, it's our own. Balarabe Musa grew larger than that. Balarabe Musa took on Abacha just as the same way he was criticizing Obasanjo when Obasanjo was the president. Those are the kind of people we respect. Those are the kind of people Nigeria should look up to. Unfortunately, the current crop of politicians in the country have not learned anything. They don't see politics as if for service. They now see politics as employment. Most of the people parading the country now at the state and at the federal level see politics as employment. They look at it as employment for selfish reasons. Because if not so,
use of Yabagi here. Yeah. The late Balarabe Musa was, the head of the Conference of Nigerian Political Parties and all of that, which has now transitioned into IPAC and all of that. What are the fond memories that you have of him heading the organization and how he was able to mobilize all the political parties in the country to challenge government policies and ensure that Nigerians were the beneficiary of a great political process that would, ensure good governance?
Yes, I had personal experience with him, recently, on 25th of August, this year. A national chairman came to my office, one of the national chairmen of the political parties came to my office after Action Democratic Party, we exited.
Yeah, you are the national chairman.
Yeah, I'm national chairman. We exited IPAC, that's Inter-Party Advisory Council, for reasons that, I believe it's not in line with, the entrenchment of democracy in this country. Because what was happening is that people who constitute themselves as executives of IPAC are always used by particularly the state government, even federal government, to now deny other opposition parties, opportunity of, winning elections in that state. They would just call them and give them, the governor there would give them money, and that's why you find most of parties were proscribed, recently, because they
that's because they didn't win elections.
Yeah, they couldn't win elections because their executives were not working for them. They were working for the state governor through IPAC. So then when we exited, we said we're not going to be a member of IPAC. So when this national chairman came to my office, he said, well, he was with Balarabe Musa, just about 2 days ago, and they discussed, the move we made, and he was so happy about it, so he wanted to talk to me. So we spoke on the phone for at least 15 minutes. He was so excited that he wanted us to come together again and then, bring parties that have the kind of ideology we have so that we can be able to check, the excesses of INEC. He was not happy with INEC and IPAC because he believes that INEC is using IPAC to thwart, the growth of democracy and then make it only for the government in power. So he says, it's just, life has, he's not here. Otherwise, we had planned that he will come. He said he wants to come to Abuja. We should organize so that he will hand over to one of us, the CMPP.
And create a splinter group of IPAC.
No, CMPP, Conference of National
revive the CMPP.
Yes, revive it. And then, because IPAC is not serving, the purpose of democracy in this country.
Well, IPAC does have a recent election where they had new executives.
No, they're not. They have two executives, actually, if you don't know.
I know the issue has been in court and we've been covering it very well. Let's just leave that for now.
I'm just trying to tell you, how passionate he is about the growth of democracy in this country and how he wants democracy to be played the way it should be played. He wants political parties to really be like the gentleman from Lagos was talking about, that he's ideologically, oriented, and he believes in rule of law.
All right. Well, we have the gentleman here, not in Lagos, actually. We have to talk about Jerry Rawlings at the moment. The former Ghanaian president, Jerry Rawlings, who dominated the politics of the West African nation for 2 decades, has died at the age of 73. Ghana's President Nana Akufo-Addo has announced 7 days of national mourning. Mr. Rawlings seized power twice in military coups, but is now regarded as a driving force behind Ghana's emergence as a stable democracy. He first came to power in the 1979 coup when he was an Air Force lieutenant. He transferred power to civilian rule soon after, but then led another coup 2 years later, decrying government corruption and weak leadership. From 1981 to 1993, he ruled as chairman of a joint military-civilian government. His takeovers in 1979 and 1981 were marked by authoritarian rule and the executions of senior military officers, including General Frederick Akufo, whom he overthrew in the first coup, and 2 other former heads of state. But Rawlings went on to oversee Ghana's transition to multi-party democracy, winning elections in 1992 and 1996 before stepping down in 2001. I still have with me in the studio Engineer Yabagi Sani, the national chairman of the Action Democratic Party and a former presidential candidate. And from our offsite studio, Dr. Philip Afaha, the head of Department of History and Diplomatic Studies, University of Abuja. Now let's go straight to you, Doctor. One of the things that Jerry Rawlings said, and I remember interviewing him some time ago right here in Abuja, where he had told me that one of the regrets that he had was that he outrightly went to kill some of these political leaders in Ghana. That left to him, if he were in this age that he is right now, which eventually died, that he would have preferred to have withdrawn all the things that they had looted from them so that they will feel the pain of the common man and eventually die slowly rather than the executions that he undertook. What are your thoughts on this gentleman who tried in his own best way to reposition Ghana as a democratic country?
Yes, I think, as someone grows in life, as you enter old age, you start seeing things differently from the way you were handling issues when you were younger. As at the time Rawlings was the head of state in Ghana, he executed those people whom he knew were stealing from his public field. Now, that was a military rule. Under military rule, when the constitution is suspended, the military authority can actually come up with any decree to get things done the way they wanted. In Nigeria too, we executed people. Nigerian military leaders executed drug barons. Nigerian military leaders executed coup plotters. Nigerian military leaders also executed people. So let us not make it as if it was only Rawlings that executed those people who were found wanting. Nigerian military leaders, all of them, executed people in this country. So I want to say, Rawlings had the opportunity. I don't want him to be vilified for any of his actions because Rawlings was able to call his country to order. Nigeria needed a Rawlings. If you pin your ears to the ground in this country, I am not in support of executing people, I'm not a soldier, but if you pin your ears to the ground, I'm a teacher, I talk with my students, they would have preferred for Nigeria to have had a Rawlings. As at the 70s and the 80s, this country wouldn't have been the way it is. Rawlings was able to call the country to his country to order. And ever since he took that action, Ghana has never remained the same. Politicians started behaving normally in Ghana. Up till today, corruption is a no-go area in Ghana. Up till today, certain things, certain behavior that we take it as if it is normal in Nigeria are no-go area in Ghana. There is discipline in Ghana. I don't support killing of people, executing people. But as at the time Rawlings did that, it was okay. Now let me tell you, most of the countries of the world, even the most developed countries, reach where they have reached through dictatorship, through military rule. Nigeria could not harvest optimally from its military rule because the military in Nigeria was also corrupt. The military in Nigeria was also skewed to ethnicity and religion. So we could not really harvest. It is only during the military and not in democracy that you can call things to existence. Some of the things troubling Nigeria today should have been called to existence as in the 70s. Most of these issues wouldn't have been there. But we missed it because our military was politicized. Some of these things should have been done. Nigeria would have been where we are. We are talking about corruption. Most countries in Africa are not discussing corruption the way we are discussing. So Rawlings did his best for his country. It was good.
All right, let's have the views of our guests here in the studio. What are your fond memories of the late Jerry Rawlings and how he tried to, alongside some intelligentsia within the military wing of Africa, talking about Sankara, talking about Murtala Muhammad in Nigeria, Sankara in Burkina Faso, and so many of them across African countries. These revolutionaries tried to bring a separate kind of understanding of Africa. What are the fond memories that you have of the late Jerry Rawlings on his move to ensure that there's good governance within Ghana and Africa?
Well, Jerry Rawlings was a very charismatic leader. You know, he was able to demonstrate that governance, can be for the people, and he liberated the people of Ghana from the backwardness that they were facing as a result of bad leadership. And I think it's like the saying goes, they say you spare the road, you spoil the child, isn't it? But again, the downside of what he did, which he himself later, regretted, is the fact that he had to sacrifice, some of the leaders at that.
I know politicians like you don't like hearing that.
Because when
it comes to corruption and debt, a lot
no.
of people, like the Nigerians have been saying, why bring Chinese policies here, but you don't bring a similar policy of
exactly.
debt?
No, I believe that, when you say treasonable felony, and you equate it, or you apply it only when somebody tries to topple the government, I think to me, it's not fair. It should be a whole.
So it should apply to corruption too.
Corruption too, because corruption is as deadly, if not more deadly, to the common man than toppling the government. Because the reason why they say it's terrible felony, and if you carry something, you'll be killed or locked up for life, is because it affects the elites directly. What about the one affecting the common man? Why do you treat that with kid gloves? So that's why I'm saying what Jerry Rawlings did, to me, it's unfortunate, really, that he had to do that. But with the benefits of hindsight, look at Ghana today. Look at the economy of Ghana today. Look at the kind of discipline you have in the administration in Ghana. Nobody, of course, is asking that we should kill our leaders or things like that. But I think we should go beyond lip service to the issue of corruption, because it is at the base, it is the bane of our underdevelopment. And there's nothing you can do in a country that can gain traction if you have corruption. Because if you cannot trust the people that will handle the resources, that will implement your programs, they will steal it. How will you be able to build hospitals? How will you be able to build roads?
Okay.
How will you be able to ensure that the economy grows? So the issue, what Jerry Rawlings did in Ghana.
Okay, just hold your thoughts.
Should they listen?
Yeah, just hold your thoughts. We'll have to go on a break. You're still watching This Week. Plenty more still to come. Stay with us. President Donald Trump's administration is so far refusing to sign off on a key document needed to formally begin the transition process, while he continues to baselessly claim election fraud and refuses to concede the race. Well, all eyes are on the Trump-appointed General Services Administration Administrator, Emily Murphy, to recognize Joe Biden as the winner of the election and President-elect of the U.S. She needs to sign a letter to release funds to the Biden transition team through a process called ascertainment. But this is yet to be done. However, Joe Biden has gone ahead to make key appointments, including his chief of staff. What does this mean for the transition process? And I have with me in the studio Engineer Yabaji Sani, the national chairman of the Action Democratic Party, ADP, and a former presidential candidate. And from our offsite studio, Dr. Philip Afaha, the head of Department of History and Diplomatic Studies at the University of Abuja. You are a politician and you were a former presidential candidate. If you have this kind of scenario playing out like it's happening in the US, what would you advise the president-elect to do? I mean, we've seen him doing a lot of stuff based on what he understands of the situation.
Well, you see, what we are seeing is just theatrics, you know. Really, there's nothing of substance to it, because American system of the elections and government has already reached a steady state where no one person, you cannot, you know, in any way frustrate, you know, the system, because it's
but Trump seems to be doing that.
No, I see the theatrics. You know, it doesn't affect the substance, really. You have just said now that Biden has gone ahead to appoint all his key staff. They are working, they are doing what they're supposed to do. The international community, the international leadership, you know, they're engaging with them. You know, there's nothing that is happening that should not happen, except for the fact that Trump, you know, can have his, you know, his theatrics. You know, he can do whatever he likes to do. The issue is that, you see, there is what you call the majesty of democracy. People have spoken. So what do? I understand that, yes, there is also supremacy of judiciary, but that's if you have a case.
So in this instance, you think case, Trump doesn't have a case?
No. You see, even the public opinion, you know, against, you know, Trump, even if he had a case now, the public opinion is so much that it will be difficult for any court of law to now say you are going to upturn.
But if public opinion was so much against Trump, why do you think he had over 70 million, about 70 million, you know, people voting for him again?
No, the same 70 million Americans that voted for him will not in any way accept anything that will disrupt, you know, their system of governance. You know, no, they will not, because they voted for him at the time it was their duty to do that, isn't it, to elect who should become your president. If you have done that and you have lost, of course they want their country to continue. They want to respect it, you know, as America. They want to be proud as Americans, not to be laughed at, you know, as what you have in some of these developing countries, you know, in Africa, so in other parts of the world. So the point I'm trying to make is that all these things happening, believe you me, it does not affect the workings of the government of the United States of America, because
you think Biden has been patient enough?
But what I'm telling you is that they are doing everything that they're supposed to do. There's nothing they're leaving and that they're not doing. Information is getting to Biden. It's not that they will just tell you that it's not officially getting to him. But you will get every information he wants to get.
Well, the thing is that I want to ask Doctor that question. Doctor, listening to us here and what he's saying, that information is getting to Biden, I would like to let you know that a lot of Americans, especially those who have played key role in national security, are not happy with the fact that Joe Biden is getting encrypted information. Encrypted information in what ways? If the General Services Administration had approved for the transition process to continue, to begin, Biden would have been receiving calls through encrypted channels. But now that that has not been done, a lot of phone calls are coming from foreign leaders. Some of these top former national security advisors and aides are afraid that the calls are not coming through secured channels. So as a result of that, the phone lines of Joe Biden may have been tapped by foreign countries or even by the Trump administration. And so a lot of things are being heard that are not supposed to be heard if they were on secured lines. What do you think this implication may be for the national security of America, considering that these guys have written a letter to this General Services Administration saying that the transition process must start now to prevent a breach of national security?
Yes, I think the American democracy is undergoing a test, a serious test for that matter. You see, people underrate Donald Trump. A lot of people say, if you watch the foreign media, they say Trump is a delusional. He is not. He is a master of the art of anti-politics. That is what Donald Trump is all about. He studies the situations and takes advantage of it. Now, the whole issue you are seeing playing out is disruptions. Disruptions of the whole electoral process. From the campaign period, you notice Trump has been voicing that he doesn't believe in the system. The system is rigged. Even the campaign, he said it was rigged. COVID-19 was rigged. Everything was rigged up to the election. The states he won were not rigged. The states Joe Biden won, he said they were rigged. And he kept on doing these things, and people think it's delusional. It's not delusional. There is a proviso in the American constitutions that allows for cancellations of elections if election is disputed. If election is disputed in America, there's a proviso that such election can be pushed aside, and an arrangement could be made with the state legislatures to appoint presidential electors who will now sit down and elect a president for the people of the United States of America. I see that is what Donald Trump is driving towards. He's trying everything possible to make sure he will discredit the system and cause so much disruptions such that he will be able to now say, okay, using the courts or the legislature, the election should be pushed aside, and the state legislature should now be called in to elect the presidential electors. Now, that is what he's driving at. But so far, I think the silence of the Biden camp has really checkmated him, because he doesn't also know what the people in the Biden camp are thinking about. So what he is doing is to disrupt the system and nothing more.
Okay, let's talk about the implications for national security. Like I said, you have former US presidents and then former national security advisors saying that, look, if this transition process doesn't commence on time, there's going to be a challenge. And moreover, considering that within the American system, if by January 20th, we do not have Joe Biden being sworn in, the president, the US Speaker of House of Representatives, Nancy Pelosi, will take over. Then the process will continue, and I mean, it's a very long process. What do you think this will do to America's image? And do you think that Donald Trump is doing a lot of damage to America's democratic credentials?
Yes, the image of America is already battered. We know that. Even before the elections, America has lost grip of global politics. America has pulled out of a lot of international protocol. America has lost influence in major parts of the world. America is struggling to regain its feet. In fact, if Biden becomes the president, it will take Biden his whole first term to be able to bring America back to where America was some 10 years ago. Now, what is happening now, the security implication of what is playing out is what the people already know. The system is going to be hacked. As these issues is happening, as this disruption, as this confusion is continuing, American adversaries are already trying to hack into the American system to see how to cause even more disruption. Because the more American system is disrupted, the more her adversaries are gaining ground.
All right, now, just hold your thoughts there, because we are running out of time. Just quickly, what are your thoughts on America's democratic credentials based on this? Very briefly, in 30 to 40 seconds.
Well, as a matter of fact, it has a lot of drawbacks, in terms of how people see America in being the leader as far as democratic institutions are concerned. But one thing, so it will never get to Nancy Pelosi, taking over, because by December, the
electors will come. Okay, I've just been told that we have very few time. I'm sorry, I just have to cut. I just have to cut you there. Well, that's it for this edition of This Week. I want to thank my guests here, Dr. Philip Afaha of the University of Abuja, and then Sani Yabagi, who has been very grateful here. I mean, very good in contributing here. He's the presidential candidate of the Action Democratic Party and still the national chairman of the party. It's been fantastic having you here. Please keep it here on the Rise News, and from the entire team here in Abuja, goodbye and thank you for watching.